Welcome back to She Can, where we interview women from all over the world about their journeys. They're leading with their stories because it's so much easier to be what you can see. And I'm very excited to talk to Annabelle Robertson today. Annabelle, welcome to She Can. You're the founder of the M Scale, which is a femtech app aimed at reducing anxiety around menstruation for women. So, you also do period product dispensers where companies can have monthly subscriptions for bathroom period products, and you collaborate with NatraCare on that. Tell us a little bit more about your journey with M-Scale and how you got to launching it.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm very happy to be here to talk about the M scale. The one thing I find myself talking about a lot is loos. I talk about toilets a lot, which is not always glamorous, but vitally important. How I founded the M scale was actually out of necessity. I was in a stage of my life where I was looking for my next thing, and you know what? It's one of those things that slowly built in the back of my mind, this idea of period anxiety and frustration. It wasn't like an aha moment. It was actually little parts of my life being aggravated by my period and being like, gosh, there's got to be a better way. So period anxiety affects all of us. We actually just don't really notice it, to be honest. There's a lot of time I'll be talking to women and be like, oh, if you feel like you have to hide products when you are out in a restaurant and you need to go to the loo, or you are planning a big birthday or a big camping trip and you realize you're going to get your period, and suddenly that changes how you approach that trip or that birthday or that experience. And there's kind of like a moment where people go, oh my gosh, yes, every month, of course, I manage my life around my period. And I basically got really sick of doing that. I got really sick of missing out, and I got really sick of not knowing what to expect if I was in a new location. So my husband's a music producer and DJ, and we used to go to a lot of club nights, and sometimes I would miss out on that because you never know what the standards of the bathroom is going to be like. You don't know if there's going to be soap or a hygienic space to change your period product. There's a lot of people out there who just forego important activity. In fact, up to 50% of women have cancelled plans because of a perceived lack of services when managing menstruation. And I just thought there's got to be a better way. And the first idea was a knowledge base. Like, we should just share knowledge. Like, if there's a great loo, tell me about it. I want to go there. If I'm out and about and I've had an accident, show me where I can easily access a product, or, go somewhere that has security and privacy. So that was the original idea. And then from there, it's kind of grown as we've responded to what our users need, and also, we need to fund this in some way. So that's how we've started to not just try and tackle the knowledge side, but also just improve bathroom standards and hold bathroom owners accountable for underserving 26% of their customers or clients. So that's putting products in, making sure that their locks are not broken, making sure there's toilet paper, making sure there's soap, just even the basic simple things. That's sort of the other side of the business. So I feel like I've spoken a lot and not actually explained what the product is. It is an app that people can go and review and find safe spaces to manage their menstruation. And it is also a business-to-business platform where we advise and we work with NatraCare to get period products into those bathrooms, especially in the hospitality industry. I think that sums it up.
The thing that shocked me, and of course, it's not that I'm, never thought about that. I have thought about and planned half of my life around my periods, but that 50% of menstruators cancel their plans because they're on their period. That's a large number. So, tell us a little bit more about your takeaways now that you've launched this, you've been running this. What are your biggest lessons so far? And how do you feel M-Scale has impacted menstruators?
So I would hope that the M-Scale so far in its journey has impacted menstruators by opening the conversation in a really non-judgmental. We're not to we respect everyone's privacy around their menstruation. So a lot of menstrual activism at the moment is like you have to be really in it, you have to be prepared to show that you bleed, or it's hush hush quiet, it's stigmatized. And we're trying to sit in the middle where it's like it's just a fact of life, it's normal. If you want to keep it private to you, that's absolutely fine. You can do that with your dignity. You don't have to be out there waving a bloody banner to say we want change. I think we also have a really strong following in the rainbow community because our app and all of our language and brand is designed to be entirely gender neutral. It is an every person problem. Even it's like it's not just menstruators, it's partners of menstruators. It's an everyone problem. It's people who don't menstruate, they're bathroom owners, you know, it affects all of their business, everything. So I would hope that so far our brand being out there, showing that we're tackling this, showing that we're really trying, has impacted our community in a really positive way because they can see that there is change happening. There is someone dedicated to this, someone working in their space in a non-judgmental way. In terms of actual users of our app, I know that people do find it useful, which is always great for our metrics. But because we're so new, we're still sort of building that direct impact. Did I answer your question? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Annabelle, and what do you feel are your the big lessons that you feel, the takeaways that you feel from running this for a bit now?
Do you know what? I actually, this is my third startup. They say it takes three, right? When I went through a massive change because of COVID, I lost a visa. I lost my job. COVID sort of messed everyone up, but I was sort of wondering what on earth I'm going to do with my life next. I started playing around with building something for myself, and the first thing that looked like was a partnership with my friend, and it was an events-based thing, which quickly we realized wasn't going to work because AI was coming in and basically doing what we had planned for us. The second one was based around a hobby, seeing if I could monetize a hobby of mine. And then this is my third one. And I've learned a lot throughout that whole journey, not just running the M scale. But the biggest thing that I've learned and the biggest lesson I try to teach other people is you can just do it. Like, you don't have to be an expert in the field. If you have true intentions, if you're willing to do the work and research and learn and develop, there is no saying that what you want to do can't be done. You know, like I know a lot of women out there have ideas that, oh, they want to start a side hustle, or they do want to monetize a hobby, or they want to take more financial control of their future. But they think that entrepreneurs are some sort of magic beings that come through McKinsey and then they go out with these huge networks and contacts, and like that would be a lot easier. But it's actually to build something and to get started. It can be done by anyone, and I think that's really important. I think that's what She Can is really working towards as well, empowering women. And so building, like, I don't know how to code an app. I know a lot more about coding an app now, but I've collaborated with incredible people to build this product. I am collaborating with Naturacare, who's also female founded, to learn about distribution of tampons and pads, and you know, the resources and the people are out there. You just have to really put yourself out there. And that's my biggest lesson doing the M scale. I'd love to say also learning all about menstruation and how it impacts society has been very useful, but that's quite niche to what I'm personally doing.
Annabelle, and what do you feel are your main challenges and how do you reframe them?
Good. That's a really good question. I think the main challenge is like, I was having a conversation with my sister the other day, who's also got a business in New Zealand, but it's a bit more like it's a product-based business. And I was talking about some progress that I'd made, and it was very small, but it was like, oh my goodness, this feels so good. Basically, it was a conversation around some middle-aged men who suddenly felt comfortable talking about periods because of the work that I was doing. And we were saying, yes, it's a win. People are starting to normalize this conversation. And she said to me, yeah, you're trying to do something really hard. Like, you're trying to change the way society views something that's been really hidden. And the enormity of that does weigh on my chest sometimes at 3 a.m. when I'm looking at my bank balance going, oh my goodness, why did I choose this? But to be honest, there's a quote that I love when I'm getting overwhelmed by the task, and how we as a company are trying to sort of enact systematic change and change the way people feel about menstruation. And it's to just do the work. So like, no matter how big the task is, what the big impact you're going for, as long as you continue to just do your task, do the work step by step, don't get overwhelmed by it, something good will come of that, no matter what. You can't do a whole bunch of work on something and then nothing come of it. It doesn't work like that. You have to just step by step, keep going, methodical progress. And then you have a big win and you're like, oh my goodness, this is working. And that's a big help for me with the challenge of trying to change the way people feel about menstruation, especially in the hospitality sector as well. Just kind of don't let it consume me.
It deeply resonates with me. What would your top tips be to menstruators then? You've been thinking about this and running this company a lot. What are your biggest tips?
I think the first thing menstruators need to do is actually look inward a little bit, because it's something that affects so much of our life and we don't talk about it and we don't think about it. And I'm not saying go out and talk to your friends about it. Like I said, in DM Scale, we also believe the right to privacy. You don't have to be that person. But I think it's really important to actually understand how much it is affecting your life. There's very obvious, like when people have serious PMS, horrendous cramps, endometriosis, anything like that, that's a very impacts directly. You can see it. People understand how much it's impacting them. But there are sort of smaller nuances to menstruation stigma, such as, like I mentioned, I remember being 12 and my best friend told me her grandmother taught her that if you had to take a pad to the bathroom, to roll it up and put it under your shoulder, under your shirt, so that no one would see it. And like I've actually done that most of it, which is just insane. But like these little sort of teachings that we've been told to keep it hidden. It's kind of shameful. It's no one wants to know about it. And I think the first step to being sort of breaking free of that is taking a look inward and sort of understanding how it is impacting your life. And then if, using our app, hopefully that will be a helpful tool if you're out and about. We're mostly based in London at the moment, but we're looking to expand that. It's kind of like a Slacktivism. You can leave a review and then we do all the work. So it's like an easy way to review, get involved in menstruation justice with very little effort. And hopefully just start to see the conversation get normalized. I'm not going to give tips about how to manage your menstruation out and about, because to be honest, we shouldn't have to have tips for how to manage your menstruation out and about. It should be very easy. It shouldn't be so hard. You should be able to walk into any bathroom and go, oh gosh, I need a tampon. Oh look, there's a tampon. Oh look, I need soap. Oh look, there's soap, privacy. I'm not ashamed of this. It's just like if I needed to go to the toilet and do a wee sort of thing. I think we're in a very exciting time in terms of menstruation justice, and I'm joined by incredible people doing incredible works. It's multi-modality. There's so many people and NGOs and sort of private sector, but also public schools and governments. Everyone's starting to wake up to the fact that this is a problem for menstruators. And so a lot of change is happening and it's really exciting. And I would tell menstruators to just keep an eye on that as well and start to see that it's okay. See the change that is happening and just be encouraged by it, basically. Know that soon we might be living in a society, hopefully, where this is not a problem anymore. And then your children, should you choose to have them, will think it's crazy we ever felt like this. That's my hope anyway.
No, I agree. Annabelle, so what qualities do you feel you have that serve you every day in scaling this? What are the things that maybe you've always possessed or maybe that you've acquired?
Yeah, I'm very organized, which I tell you does help. uh, I was asked this question by my team the other night. We had a sort of pre-early Christmas drinks, and they said, "Oh, they asked me, how do you feel about running the ship?" Because I've got my app developer. She's very much a coder, and then I've got my creative director, and she's very much creative, whereas I'm sort of this umbrella over top. And I always say I was a personality hire my whole life. But it's because I motivate other people to do really well in their work. And my job is to steer the ship. I think that that's really important. I've worked for many a bad boss, and I refuse to be a bad boss. I refuse to be an emotional tyrant or, make anyone feel uncomfortable. My job is to empower my team to make sure that they can do the best work possible and they have the tools and resources they need to do that. I also am very good at taking on feedback. So I think that's really important. If you're going to lead, if you're going to start something up, there's a great saying I saw the other day, and it was like, no one makes good decisions. They just survive the bad decisions. And I think that is pertinent to running a company, because you kind of do just have to try and try and try, and not everything's going to work. And then you have to be able to pivot and move on and not get offended that didn't work, even if it was your great idea. Like, you can't keep pushing on something that isn't working. You have to be open to feedback, and your team and your clients and your customers and everyone you're approaching, they have to be able to say, like, you have to read the data and be like, this isn't working. All right, no hard feelings. Let's try something else. I think that's a very important quality to have, and I'm glad that I possess that. Not being too precious. Yeah, I think. And then obviously, I like I said, I'm not a coder. I've got a great team of coders. So yeah.
Annabelle, and I feel that I have the same. So whenever I get a positive feedback from my team, I say, and what about the negative feedback? Tell me what can be done better, because actually that's so much more helpful.
Yes.
So
Also, I think sometimes we don't want to admit when something is going wrong, and we kind of need someone else to go, hey,
absolutely.
like, we've been doing this for a while and it's not working, and you're like, oh, okay, I can let it go. Even though it was so much work, it's all right. You're giving me permission to go, yeah, let's scrap it. It's so much work, it's not working.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Annabelle, what are you most proud of to date? I know you have a little baby.
Yeah, that's nice. I mean, I think I would like to say that I've made him amazing, but I think he's done that on his own. Birth was something to be pretty proud of. But I think I'm most proud. I really feel like I'm becoming a woman's woman, and I really love that. I use a lot of my spare time. Not that I have much, like you said. I have a 5-month-old baby, and I run a business. But I've taken these skills in my sort of hobby, and it's also a chance for me to get a bit of personal connection and social time. Is helping other women, like I mentioned, who want to sort of test an idea or a hobby or monetize a hobby or something like that, helping them sort of build a website and teaching them what they might need to sort of just test their theory. And I'm really proud of myself to be in a position where I can do that. I can share my knowledge. The M scale is I live and breathe it. It is my other baby. I've got 2 babies. That is my identity. But this is something that I've sort of developed on the side as part of my personality of really helping women, especially around me, try out entrepreneurship, and giving them the tools that I've spent many years learning, and just giving it to them, like just saying, here, this is how you build a website. I'll build it. You tell me what you want, and then I'll teach you how to edit it.
Yeah.
Now you can go out and test your theory, see if it works. Can you sell your baby toys online? Can you do all of these sorts of things? That's something I'm very proud of, for me personally.
And I love that you say that, Annabelle, because just last week we released a newsletter of how women do not help other women and how
Mm.
that is pertinent still in this day and age and how we need to change it. And we need the sisterhood, the allyship. And we need that from women to women, but also men to women and women to men, right? So we need to get much better at that in order for systemic change to happen. So tell us your plans and goals, Annabelle. What are you working towards? What's happening in the next year or two or three?
Yes, we are at a very exciting time because we've just expanded our team with the launch of our dispenser service, which is our business to business. It's kind of we kept saying, oh, but Lou should stop product, Lou should stop product. But then when I actually looked at the logistics of that for a independent pub owner, or just a general, or even a massive chain, I saw like there isn't really a service out there that makes that easy.
Hmm.
It's just I can understand the barrier of entry from a hospitality point of view or a public toilet point of view, why you wouldn't immediately want to faff around with stocking period products. So then we don't monetize the app yet. We might put a few ads in soon, but obviously it's always open source and it's always free for everyone to use and it will forever be there. So then we were like, well, we do need to make money somehow. So why don't we be the people who supplies toilets with product?
Yes.
Also, because we're already having this dialogue with people who want to do better, hospitality, toilet owners who want to do better. We already established this relationship. So I feel like it's a very gentle way to come in and say, look, we'll guide you through this. We'll hold your hand. We'll make sure that you are a 5-star Lou on the M scale and that you can stock products without it being a big faff, without it being a nightmare.
Yes.
So we developed the subscription service with Natricare, who are amazing, and they've kind of held my hand as well. It's nice to have it's like a big sister coming and being like, oh, okay, we're going to give you all the support to launch your dispenser service. And that's launched this month. So
Wow.
now we're sort of getting our early adopters, which is very exciting, doing a lot of outward sales, but we're getting there. And with that comes a whole operational side of the company that we need to scale. So I've also brought on a fantastic woman named Charlie, whose background is just creative operations, all sorts of operations, and she's starting to build that out. We're redeveloping the app to launch an update in January with a few new features, which is really exciting, making it more user friendly. We're moving from minimum viable product now to actually we've tested the feedback and we're building something really exciting with that. And then our creative team have created this really awesome strategy, a lot of sort of vlogs and on the street and interviewing and just doing what I was saying before of like getting people to look inwards at their menstrual anxiety and figuring out how that impacts their life and how they'd like that to change. So yeah, it's really exciting, overwhelming, but I just keep doing the work.
Annabelle, I love it and it's super inspiring. Tell us what you would like people to take away from your story.
From my story personally, I think it's that you don't, there's one thing that whenever I'm talking to my friends or the people that I'm helping on the side, they always have this anxiety about launching their business or their business idea, even just publishing a website or opening an Instagram, right? I'm like, you have to test your theory before you can properly invest in it. And the only way you can do that is by putting it out there and getting feedback. And they always have this moment of hesitation and they think about like, oh gosh, what will the people I went to high school think of me? Like, oh gosh, look at Joanne. How dare she try and do this? Who does she think she is? We have this sort of internal dialogue that kind of puts us in our place. And I don't know if that's like I'm a Kiwi and we definitely have that. We have like tall poppy syndrome. We cut people down, but also it's like especially woman, I think, is like how dare I put myself out there? People are going to make fun of me. And the same message I always give them, and I would love to give every other woman listening to this, is anyone who has built a business or launched an idea or tried something would never think that, because they know how much hard work goes into launching an idea and they know that it takes guts And I like to think that anyone who's done that and sees you trying it out will go, that is awesome, give it a go. They will be your cheerleader, because they know it just takes that like little step of confidence to go into something amazing. Anyone who might judge you hasn't done this themselves, and who really cares? They're not in a place to judge you. They've never done it themselves, so they can have their little, excuse my language, bitchy thoughts, but they're not going to impact you, and that really reflects more on them than it reflects on you. And that is like my core messaging around sort of just giving it a go and trying something. Yeah.
I think that's a perfect way to finish, Annabelle. Thank you so much for taking the time to tell your story, to tell us about the M scale, the systemic change around menstruation anxiety that you're aiming for, which is super inspiring. And I would love to encourage all menstruators to download the M scale app and try it out, leave the reviews, and of course, companies to come and subscribe to your period product dispensers.
Yes, here's hoping. The more reviews we have, the more powerful we are. So yes, that would be amazing.